Hello, my name is Cameron McLean, and I'm going to give just a brief presentation right now, just a brief video on the disc winged bat. Um, it's a little tricky to say 3 times fast, so I've had to stumble through it a few times to get it right. Now, the reason that I wanted to talk about the disc winged bat is because right now we're studying about the friction in the animal kingdom and what allows them to defy gravity and walk up walls. Let's see here. Excuse me. So, friction among animals. So, there are a few ways that animals are able to defy gravity, as we say. And here's a few photos of we've all seen these amazing mountain goats, these billy goats that are walking up the side of almost perfectly vertical surfaces, as well as this cat who is just scaling between walls around the AC unit, and then finally the lizard in the bottom right circle there with his pads. So the way that this works, or a few ways that it can work, is with sticky pads, like I said, with the lizard in the corner, as well as balance. Balance and hooves, as you can see with the goats on the far right. Um, and then with the cats, we have claws as well. Now, all of this is achieved by these animals learning how to work with um, their body weight as well as the surface, the weight ratio that they're trying to climb up as well. This all alludes to the amount of friction that it takes to hold the animal in place on the wall. Now, with the cat, they have these claws that are able to sink in and keep them secure to the surface. The goats have the friction of their hooves against the very, very small ledges of that wall. Now, when you get to the lizard has this is where you get more into nanotechnology, but the lizard has more of an electrostatic surface that they cling to. There's um, an electrostatic adhesion that happens in their pad between their pad and the walls of the surface that they're climbing on. Now, with the disc-winged bat, the reason I wanted to use this as an example is it's the most interesting to me, which is it uses suction. Now, we've all used a suction cup, like let's say that you wanted to stick something to your window. You might have a suction cup provided that you could. I've seen people moisten the surface, or they simply just push it against the window, and what they're doing is by pushing against the window and forcing the air out of it, that vacuum created between the suction cup and the surface will hold that item or animal in place. And so with the disc wing bat, it uses suction that also has, you can see a claw above it there that it can use to hook onto branches and leaves and things. Something I found was pretty interesting is that a single pad can hold up the entire weight of the animal. Now, finally, I wanted to take one more second and just kind of go back. I feel like if we're talking about friction in the animal kingdom and the ability for animals to defy gravity, I feel like the shining star of these abilities is, of course, just lizards and many different species of lizards and geckos and that sort of thing. And so the way that they work is they've got these tiny hairs. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but if they I think they're called setae, and these tiny hairs, they have these just hundreds. Each individual hair has hundreds of these tiny tips called satullae. Now, these tiny tips will actually bond to the surface of what they're climbing by virtue of an electrostatic bond between the molecules of the pad and the surface itself, holding the lizards to the wall. Um, they've proven this by trying to use a non-electronically charged piece of Teflon to see if the lizards could climb up it, and they struggled significantly to do so, proving that they do stick by more virtue of their of that electric bond than by simply just friction itself. However, they both come into play to kind of counterbalance the weight ratio of these animals. And with people as well, they say that um, by our body weight, if I remember correctly, some 80% of our body weight would have to be held by these ginormous padded arms and legs that we would be required to climb walls and do that sort of thing. So that's why it's so unrealistic for us to contain the same ability. But that is all. Thank you so much.